Enki and Ninmah, Part 1. In those ancient times, when heaven and earth were only just taking shape and the destinies of the world were being decided, the Anunnaki gods already existed and were gradually multiplying. They formed unions with one another, gave birth to new gods, and over time filled everything: the heavens, the earth, and even the underworld. But the more numerous they became, the clearer a problem emerged. It grew increasingly difficult for them to provide themselves with food. The world they had filled was not an endless source of sustenance. Work was divided. The senior gods observed and directed, while the younger ones, the Igigi, carried out all the hard labor. They dug canals, piled up silt, and hauled earth and clay. Day after day, their work repeated without end. To sustain the life of the gods, separate deities of labor were created. Ashnan, the goddess of grain, responsible for bread and wine, and Lahar, the shepherd, who watched over the herds and milk. But even their efforts were not enough. Ashnan could not produce sufficient food, and Lahar's milk no longer met the needs of the growing world of the gods. Then the gods began to appeal to the great Enki with pleas for help. They asked him to relieve them from hunger and endless toil. But their requests did not reach him. Enki slept peacefully in the depths of his abyss, the Abzu, and did not hear their complaints. Over time, the situation of the Igigi became unbearable. Their labor turned into constant exhaustion, endlessly digging the earth, carrying baskets, knowing neither rest nor relief. Their fatigue grew until it turned into open discontent. At last, the younger gods could endure no more. They threw their hoes to the ground, burned their tools, and gathered together. Then they set out toward the dwelling of Enlil and surrounded his house. There they raised an uproar and began to complain. Their labor was too heavy, their burden unbearable. They said that, though they were gods, they were forced to live like slaves and could no longer continue such a life. They stood at the gates of Nippur, the city of Enlil, crying out to him loudly in anger and despair. Hearing this noise, Enlil saw that a rebellion had begun among the gods and was shaken by what was happening. Realizing the seriousness of the situation, he sent a message to Enki, informing him that the Igigi had refused to work and were demanding an answer to their grievance.